G'day guys, how you going? Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Tonight I'm going to be doing another review. So this is not a horror film, it's a drama slash biography slash animated movie. It's from France, French language, English subtitles. It's actually set in Iran, so it's something a little bit different. Released in 2007, directed by two people, Vincent Parano and Mayana Satrapi. This is actually Mayana Satrapi's life story. 2007 release, and this one is called Persepolis. And the story to Persepolis is as follows. Writer and director Mayana Satrapi's coming-of-age story is nothing short of a tour de force. Faithfully lifted from her autobiography novel, this beautiful film is seen through the eyes of Mayana, a courageous, punk-loving, ABBA-listening young girl who is living in 1970s Iran as the Shah's dictatorial reign draws to a close. There is great excitement in the Satrapi household, for Mayana's intellectual parents believe a new era of freedom will now begin. However, they soon discover that the new Iran, now ruled by Islamic fundamentalists, has become a repressive tyranny on its own. Mayana, fearless and full of fun, nonetheless continues to defy restrictions and refuses to remain silent at the injustices she sees. Fearing for her safety, her parents send her, age 14, to Vienna to live and study. It is the beginning of a profound and revealing journey, told with great humour and emotion, where Mayana discovers where she truly belongs. So it's a autobiography of the director, Mayana Satrapi. She was a young girl in the 1970s Iran. Now, it was a very harsh place at the time, but the film starts off at the end of the Shah's dictatorship. So it's a very new Iran that's approaching, and Mayana and her parents and the rest of her family believe that it's a new Iran, and that the restrictions that have been held upon the Iranian people are going to be lifted, and there will be a new sense of freedom. However, the new Islamic fundamentalists that have taken over, it proves disastrous because things are even more restricted, and the freedom that they were hoping for has not come. So they're living under very harsh restrictions. The female population have to wear, the appropriate dress code, and yeah, they pretty much don't have the same rights as the males do. So Moyana can't understand this, and she starts to rebel against the regime, and this causes a lot of problem, not only for her but also her family. So her family are really worried about her. Other people are getting arrested, and some are even being killed for opposing the regime. So they're really worried for Mariana. So Mariana gets sent to Austria. Her parents pay for her plane ticket to Austria, and this is where she is going to experience life as a free person. And this is where Mariana's parents really think she deserves a taste of freedom. So she gets to Austria, and this is where she's trying to fit in, but she can't. And she's trying to pretend that she's not from Iran. She's telling people she's French, whereas in fact she is Iranian, and she's kind of not revealing her true self, and that's really creating problems for her. So she goes on a bout of depression, and she goes through hell. Then she ends up going back to Iran, and this is where she has to confront who she really is. So that's as far as I'm going to go. Synopsis. If you want to know more, please go out there, track this film down, and have a look at it for yourself. Now, my thoughts on this movie. I got this one because it sounded really interesting. This woman, Mayana Satrapi, actually sounded like a very brave woman and defied the odds. And it shows that even, people under the harshest restrictions, with character and imagination, they can still have freedom. And I actually thought, the storyline and the person itself was very, very interesting. However, my problem with the film is that I actually thought it could have been a lot better and a lot more powerful than it actually was. Don't get me wrong, I actually thought this was a good film. The animation is done very, very well. So people who appreciate animated cinema will get a lot out of this one because it is actually very well done as far as animation is concerned. I actually thought it contributed a lot to the actual story as well. It kind of gave it a certain level of charm, which I actually thought was very necessary for the film. And then when you get the shocking moments of violence, I mean, it's not shocking moments, a lot of it's off screen, a lot of it is implied, but I actually thought the violence in itself, although it's children friendly, I mean, there's no blood, there's no graphic, excessive gore, but the violence does have an impact, and it does show you just how miserable life was in this time that Mariana was being brought up. So on that front, I actually thought it was really well done. There was I actually liked the fact that in Austria it was a different color, and then when back in Iran it was black and white. So it really gives you a restricted kind of a feeling that Moyana was going through. So on that regard, I actually think it was well worth the purchase. However, I couldn't help but feel that Mayana wasn't that sympathetic for me. Yes, the situation she was facing was very sympathetic, but to me, it sounded like she was just a little bit self-centered, and she was lashing out at the world in her anger, and that really kind of annoyed me rather than made me feel sympathy for her. There were some scenes that I was sympathetic, but I just feel that it felt like she was being a little bit selfish. Now, yes, she had a harsh living environment, but the whole country had this. So I just don't think that I thought, I just didn't get much sympathy for her. So I know that might sound harsh, and you guys might disagree if you've seen the film, but for me, the main character was just a little bit more annoying rather than sympathetic, which is what I think the actual film was trying to go for. Now, also, I actually felt that a lot of the storyline was skimmed over. I actually thought there wasn't much patience going into it. It was kind of like get the story out of the way quickly, and as a result, I just don't feel that this film had the power that it could have had, which is a great shame because there is a lot to like about it. There is some humour in here, very sort of subtle humour that will make you laugh, and there are scenes that will make you, feel a little bit down. I wouldn't say reduce me to tears, but there are some scenes that will make, your heart will be saddened. But I just feel that it could have been so much more, had a little bit more attention gone into the actual story and playing it out just a little bit longer. It goes for 96 minutes. I actually thought this film would have benefited from a 2-hour length. I don't know if that was a possibility, but if they just drew out a few more sort of scenes a little bit longer, I thought a greater impact would have happened. So I'm not saying this is a masterpiece by any stretch. I know a lot of people consider it a masterpiece. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but having said that, I actually think it's a good film. If you're into biographies and animated films, I am going to say give it a go, but it's definitely not for everyone. So I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. It is a good film, but it's no masterpiece in my opinion. Alright guys, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later.